I'm really looking forward today to a unique phenomenon around here. It's supposed to not rain or snow for the whole day. And I have some stuff I want to paint as the top priority. But the real top priority today is Karen is going to be cooking up a storm. She's making cookies. In our house over the holiday season, the two things that are really important. Number one, we like to work on our restoration a little bit every day. And we like to eat some homemade food. And we still have a cola roast to cut. So this is going to be an exciting day. So if it doesn't snow or it doesn't rain or the wind doesn't blow us over today, we hope we're going to get a really good day of shop work. And before the day is over, have some delicious cookies. Of course, this time of year we're always subject to two things. That is, if it's going to rain or snow, and if we're going to get anything done in the shop today. But I'm getting a nice early start. So the day starts in Karen's workshop. Oh my God, with all the ingredients. Oh my God. But this is the ingredient we need more than anything else. Not only are we eating cookies, but Karen's been decorating every day. And every day I just feel like I'm more and more in a Christmas mood. So as soon as I finish my coffee, and I know I'm just going to have to get going here because of all the things we have, and of course because of leapfrogging we have things that, and I want to look down the list here. This is ready for paint. This is ready for paint. That's ready for buffing. The windshield's ready for cutting. I don't know what we're going to get done today, but every day we leapfrog our way to immortality here. This is what makes my winter go by relatively pleasantly. Now, it's always challenging when you have a day that potentially it could snow or rain. So what I try to do is the first thing in the morning, as soon as that coffee goes down, and it goes down. As soon as that's ready, I try to get the parts that I've already prepped up, tack rag down, get the compressor fired up. These two parts have to be redone. This one has a couple of touch-up spots that I'm really not happy with at all. And then we'll bring them inside, I think the way this is going to work today, because of the weather. And it's a little above freezing, so everything should go well. We'll get these parts drying, and I'll even be able to shoot the clear this afternoon or late this morning. But in the meantime, I've been able to make a good use of a day that you really wouldn't want to plan a picnic today. And of course that's up by a heating vent. That should dry up 20 minutes to a half hour from now with the way this day is playing out. Hopefully we'll be getting some clear on those parts. And little by little, we start off the day hanging up some laundry. It always looks like that, doesn't it? Anyway, we got one other little part, well, two other little parts we want to work on. Now these two little parts that snap into the seat, I know because they're not an exact match, and they do have the sparkles in the paint. So obviously they're painted, so I'm going to take some, I guess, some 2000 grit. I want to just carefully, I don't want to disturb this lettering. I want to very carefully sand these down, and then I'm going to spray them black. And while we have the clear in the gun, now what I'm trying to do is an efficiency thing, get all the black painted, go have a cup of coffee or whatever, and then come back and do all the clear. And assuming it doesn't snow or we don't have a tornado go through or something, we may get this all done today. So as always, it's good old simple green. And we'll go through the whole regimen of cleaning these before we actually hit the wood sandpaper. And I'm going to have to get some Q-tips and get down into these grooves because I really don't, I'm trying not to get a big giant amount of clear around here that I lose the definition of these, the little indentations for the lettering. And this, by the way, is where John copied or pirated or whatever we want to call it, the lettering that we're going to use in gold on the side of fairing, on the upper fairing. So we really would like to see this. It's a very subtle little touch, and it's what we're trying to accomplish with this whole project. Subtle little touches. All right, this is just 2000 grit in Dasa sandpaper, and what I'm going to try to do, of course, is just get the minimum amount of sanding on this, because again, I'm trying not to lose. I want to get a grip. I want to get it to go around the edges nice, so I want all these edges really smooth. And this piece, of course, just snaps in. But if it wasn't a final match, or if I were to paint it gold, it would just get too gaudy. It would just lose the look that I'm looking for. Now, believe it or not, getting down into these little grooves proved to be a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. I'm trying to do it with, of course, with 2000 grit, so it would get down in all the corners. That just took a lot of little detailing to get that the way I want it, but now that's ready for the lightest coat of black I can put on it. I'll fan the gun way down. Well, I could even do it with an airbrush, but we'll get a very small amount of black on that and possibly 1 or 2 thin coats of clear. So all the while I'm working downstairs, I have the smell of cookies going in the oven here. Oh boy, do I love the holiday season. I love sharing it with all our friends. So back to our project, and just let me say, if you did not scuff that, that's 2000 grit scuffed. If you just paint this part, the odds are good, the odds are real good. What would happen? It would eventually peel or bubble or saran wrap. Pieces of paint would be coming off. You need that tooth, and this took a lot longer than I thought it would. But we're ready to put some black on that as soon as I get this part sanded. Now what I tried to do is figure some way of mounting these so they would dry. I didn't want to hang them up. I wanted to have them lay flat. Anytime you can let a part, especially if you put clear on it, the clear likes to lay flat, of course. And this will be just a final coating with prep wall. I'll tack rag these down and we'll get ready to go paint them. While we have that, we're painting black. It's very convenient to do this. And what I did, I looked around and I said, well, what else can I paint today while we have this painting day? Because what's going to happen, and then of course it always happens, the next couple days it's going to be inclement, a wintry mix. I love it, so romantic. It's like Gone with the Wind, Gone with a wintry mix. But anyway, the whole idea here is through the leapfrogging sequencing process that I have worked with, and it's funny to say this, but the reason I work like this is I don't have a choice. You know, nobody left me a body shop with a spray booth or anything even close to that. So, but I've been able to do some pretty nice painting, as I'm sure you agree. And we do know how to make some really good cookies. And now everything is sitting under the heating vent. Just like chickens sitting on the eggs. Now what has happened is, it was very unexpected, but it turned out to be a reasonably nice day. And we even have a little bit of sun shining. So what I thought I'd do is, I wanted to paint these little gold pieces. These are just that pattern material. I could get the little gold painted while we have a paintable day, because you never know when this weather goes bye-bye for 2 weeks at a time. So rather than doing something that I can do now, if it rains, of course, I can buff the rest of the parts. But if it rains or snows, I can't paint. So it's a good idea to look around. Anything else I can paint today, I want to paint. You want to paint on a painting day and make cookies every day. And in case you haven't followed my adventure with mirrors, in the last year I've replaced all of them except the Suzuki that had good mirrors. And to me, these mirrors, bar mounted, not fairing mounted, bar mounted just made such a difference, put it right into perspective. I actually can see what's behind me. Can you imagine what a thrill that is? Look at these cookies, oh my God. Now, it's bad enough she's watching TV where they're making cookies and making cookies. Holy mackerel. I guess I'm a lucky husband. And here's the next batch going in. Another 1,000 cookies. Wow, I love Christmas. Now to clear that we're going to be spraying is good old GAVCO, and I say this every video, we haven't found a whole lot difference than the 5-star that we used on the FCR project. They're pretty similar. Now as I'm doing the clear, black clouds are coming over, so I want to get this show on the road. Now it's really above freezing, so I'm going to let this dry out in the garage. There's no reason to put it by the heating vent now, but I will get maybe one more coat on, 2 or 3 coats of clear, and then I'll let that sit in the garage overnight. Now at its relatively cold temperature, it does take a little longer to dry, but it seems like there's no downside to it. The part's still dry with a nice high gloss. And we will get at least 2 coats of clear and maybe 3 today. Now the idea of putting just the thinnest coat of clear possible, there'll be enough that I can buff it out. But now these parts will dry a good half hour, 45 minutes, and I'll put the rest of the clear on. But in the meantime, while this is drying, I can set up those mirrors. And this is rounding out to be a pretty good day. Now I'm glad I got to experiment with that various designs and various sizes here, but when I looked at this, and I let it sit, of course, since we've been doing this little project, I wanted to downsize them. They got to be a little too dominant, a little too big for my taste, so all I'm going to do is bring a thicker side of tape in so these will just shrink down as I mask them off. And that's what's nice about having patterns instead of, it's like not marrying the first girl you fall in love with. Now the first part of anything we do to mirrors, and I would really emphasize this glass is not impervious. If I take this and it'll scratch so easy. I don't know, it's probably not glass, it's some kind of plastic, and let's face it, these are not Bugatti mirrors, that's for sure. By the way, I was watching my friend with the Bugatti. He's on the Bugatti channel. I don't even know what his name is. I got to check it. Super nice guy. But he was just talking about how he has a bunch of Bugattis. He went and he said, I wonder if you can guess what an oil change on a Bugatti costs, and you have to do 1 a year. And I thought, meh, $1,000. It's $25,000. And I was thinking, boy, if this guy was interested in motorcycles, wow, could he have a collection? He could put Jay Leno to shame. That would really be something cool. And if he liked old bikes, holy mackerel, he could have more than Luciano. And I have to say, I do often wonder if people that have these tremendous car and motorcycle collections, and of course that's their thing, and nobody wants to deny them that, but I just wonder in my heart of hearts if they have any more fun than those of us on the A-team that are, I don't know what we are. Some people are not impressed, some people are. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I mentioned in this video, because that in the time I worked with John DeTavio, now John DeTavio and I have a great work history. He hired me for about 2 years, and I hired him when I bought one of the rental properties. And so we had a real intimate work knowledge of each other. And he said to me something that stuck with me for my whole life. He said when he was younger and he was learning the trades, and of course he was a highly skilled, right? I mean highly skilled. He was really old school. He was older than old school. And he would tell me that people back in the day, they wanted you to work for them, but they didn't really want to teach you to trade because they were afraid you'd somehow take their job. Well, so he'd say they had a technique that he used, and a lot of people used back then. You'd work with a guy who was trying not to show you the tricks of the trade, and he said you'd steal a trade with your eyes. You just watch what they're doing, and you could figure out the rest. And I think to a certain degree, that stuck with me my whole life, because I watch a lot of YouTube videos of people that are a lot smarter than me, and people that work at Boeing, and people that they have a lot more experience at doing it, and I always try to learn with my eyes. Now I wanted to mention and make sure I say it over and over again, the glass that comes on these inexpensive mirrors is really vulnerable to scratching, and even if you wipe it off and you have a rag with a piece of sand in it, it'll scratch it. And believe it or not, it annoys the hell out of me when I have a scratch, because usually it's right where it can never scratch out here. So anytime I work on mirrors, I try to back mask them immediately. Now another thing you would think wouldn't be really important, but it is. This joint where the mirror rotates, if you paint that, what happens when you go to move the mirror, the paint starts peeling and chipping. And now I've made a real effort every time I paint a mirror to back mask that area with some 1/8" tape and just go around, how many times you need to, because I don't like to have a big chunk of paint missing, and I don't know who does. But yeah, that stealing a trade with your eyes is a true thing. I bet there's a lot of old timers that, if any old timer is ever watching my videos, yeah, that's true. Anyway, I got to back mask the threads, and then these will be ready for prep. Now I want to. This is a little bit backwards, but these already have clear on them, so I'm going to 2000 sand everything flat as much as I need to, and then back mask the arrowheads and try to get them a little bit smaller and more in keeping with what my vision of this project should be. But basically everything else will just get 2000 grit papered, and then we'll be ready. I'll put the arrowhead on, and I think this is going to be an easy peasy. So like no different than any other part. First thing is to get all the grease off. We'll degrease it with prep wall, sand it down carefully, because these parts already have, I'm sure, have some grit and wax and dirt and everything. But we'll get them nice and flat sanded. We'll be able to put our gold on, and then that'll have to dry overnight, of course. So we'll be very happy to see that all come to fruition today, and that and harvesting about 2,000 cookies from Karen's kitchen. Quite a day. It's pretty cut and dry what we have to do here. So I do want to get a bond to the next layer of paint. If I just were to paint right over this, especially if I didn't get all the wax and grease off, it'd be a problem. And I hate problems. And it flat sands right out. So now that's going to give me a good tooth for the gold trim to go on here. Now in the course of sanding this down, there were some rough spots, and I went through. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm waiting, I'll do the other mirror. I'll touch that up. It's not going to interfere with us doing any of the back masking, but I do want to have that touched up, and that can be up by the heating vent drying while we're obviously going to do the other part. And just a simple little touch-up under the heating vent. That'll dry 15-20 minutes. By the time I sand the other the other side down. Maybe I'll go through on the other side too, who knows. But we've gotten rid of all these little high spots by doing this. Now I'm trying to concentrate downstairs on, as you can imagine, getting these projects underway. Look at this. Why am I having trouble gaining weight over the holidays? Is there? Could you give me a hint about this? This is not a Marie Osmond diet, I suppose. Okay, we're ready to backmask and shoot the gold, and it's nice and sunny out there, believe it or not. Now it's really critical when we're painting this gold, and we're going to airbrush it on, of course. I try to get the airbrush to go 90 degrees to the part. I don't want to go up under the tape. I press this down with my fingernail just 30 seconds before I go to paint it. The gold has to be shaken up constantly. We have a lot of pigment in the gold. And everything has to be backmasked, because on something like the Bentley Black, I don't even want to have one little speck of gold somewhere or any overspray, anything. The black has to be perfect. Now the thing with the gold is always to shake, shake, shake. In fact, I can still see some pigment in the bottom. But I've got this to where this is the color I really envisioned. It took so long to get this color the way I wanted it. And I've got enough, as I say, to paint a Boeing 747. The very reliable Iwata airbrush. Oh, I love it. It has really warmed up out here, and the wind is howling. Oh, I think that's going to be just perfect. Well, I really love that color gold against the Bentley Black. I think that's going to be real nice. Well, obviously that's going to have to sit overnight. I like the old school, just letting it sit overnight before I pull a tape. And when I did my little experiment, nothing changed my mind that was the way it would work the best for me. So now all that's left is I want to get the parts that are drying in the garage a final coat of clear, and then go eat some cookies. This has been a really productive day. Now, as windy as it was and as cold as it was part of the day, and then it warmed up, the sun came out, it went back in, it did not stop us from getting anything done. And that is one good day of getting parts done, working around the weather, and of course the main thing, we got to go road test some cookies. Today was a very unexpectedly productive day. I did not expect to get all this stuff done that I did. I had a list of things to do, and everything on the list got done. And Karen's having a blast up there making cookies for everybody. So what can I say? It's good to be alive. It's good to have a Bugatti collection. And I often do wonder if people that have incredible collections of things and stamp collections and everything, if they have as much fun as the people restoring old motorcycles. Maybe they do, I don't know. It's not a contest. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope your holiday's going as well as ours and your restoration's going even better than ours. So thanks for watching.